Boys, is she naked?
Shh, Billy, pretend she's invisible.
The movie opens with our protagonist, Holly, narrating about her life as an invisible girl, someone who cannot be seen or heard, but is not a ghost either. In a flashback, she talks about her pretty older sister, Vanessa, and her smart younger brother, Troy, and how being in the middle makes her feel ordinary and invisible. But Holly has her mother, Victoria, who encourages her, loves her, and listens to her. Tragically, Holly's mother passed away when she was still a child, and with this, everything changed. After Victoria's death, Holly begins to feel like she's fading away. She is shattered, and the world around her begins to crumble. To Holly's dismay, her own family seems to overlook her, with her father, Paul, forgetting to ask about her day, even after asking her siblings, and even her teacher ignoring her raised hand in school. At first, Holly feels devastated that everyone is ignoring her, but later, she shockingly gets to know that she is fading away. By the end of the summer, Holly learns that she has become totally invisible. In fact, she doesn't even show up in pictures. As the years go by, Holly learns to adapt to her newfound invisibility. Now, she rents an apartment in a building that caters to corporate rentals where anonymity is the norm. She has put up a sign instructing the delivery men to leave her orders outside her door without needing to talk to them. All of their payments are done from underneath the door, slipping the money in cash. Holly has also landed a job as a paparazzo, exploiting her invisibility to sneak into VIP areas and capture scandalous photos of celebrities. Despite being invisible, Holly enjoys visiting her family and looking over their lives. I wonder how long it will take for this story to become perverted. Later, we learn that her younger brother Troy still resides in the same old house, but has moved to the basement to pursue his passion for visual arts. Meanwhile, her sister Vanessa has gotten married, and their dad Paul is now working in real estate. The two siblings, along with their father, continue their tradition of meeting every Friday for dinner, and Holly also shows up, although she doesn't stay for long, as it's a rather gloomy affair for her. While there are certain perks to being invisible, like having the freedom to explore anywhere and see everything without any worries about social norms or dress codes, the worst part is not being a part of anything. One evening, while keeping an eye on a couple, Holly is shockingly noticed by a bouncer. He catches her taking pictures of the couple and throws her out of the club. Holly is thrilled to finally meet someone who can see her and has countless questions for him. However, the bouncer ignores her and returns to the club.
Yeah, I've heard it all before. Move along, Toots.
For some reason, he is the only one who can see her. Later, at home, as Holly is going through her previous works, she comes across the bouncer's picture. She remembers him as Shane, a guy she had caught cheating on camera. Filled with remorse, she decides to do some research on Shane and discovers that he's a former MMA fighter and a world champion who once dated popular actress and supermodel Juliana. However, after the pictures Holly took went viral, Shane's fans turned against him. His prosperous career spiraled out of control, and the couple eventually broke up. To make matters worse, Shane was arrested for illegal activities, and his MMA career came to an end after he lost the championship to his fellow fighter, Mate. Determined to make it up to him, even though at least 90% of that was not her fault at all, Holly goes back to the club and patiently waits for Shane. As soon as he arrives, she apologizes and offers to help clean his reputation. At first, Shane is furious with her and asks her to go away, but Holly convinces him to give her 5 minutes to prove her skills.
Oh, 5 minutes. Why didn't you say so?
Shortly after, Shane meets with his manager to discuss an upcoming event, and Holly surprises him by sitting next to the manager and reading his text messages. Although Shane is initially confused, he plays along as Holly points out all the ways his manager is lying, including trying to pay him less than what the event offers. Shane then argues with the manager and negotiates a better deal for himself. After this, he drags Holly out of the building and asks her,
What's going on?
She reveals that she is invisible to others, but as expected, Shane doesn't believe her. So, to prove herself, she stands in front of an oncoming car. Shane pulls her back at the last second, but the driver, who had no idea that someone was standing on the road, yells at him. This finally convinces Shane that Holly is actually invisible to others. She could have proven that in so many less dangerous ways. With the days passing by, the two become close, as he is the only person who can see and talk to her. Though uncertain of what to do, Holly takes the initiative and suggests that they might be connected and able to help each other. Shane agrees and invites her to his apartment to discuss their situation further.
If you know what I mean.
The next morning, Holly arrives at Shane's apartment and meets his 3-legged dog, who cannot see her. As they settle in, Holly shares her theory that she wasn't always invisible, and Shane wasn't always unpopular. She believes that by helping him, she may regain her visibility and ease both of their lives. In turn, Shane opens up about his life story, sharing how he was kicked out by his stepfather as a teenager and discovered his passion for fighting while defending himself from bullies. Here, we get to know that though he no longer fights professionally, Shane still competes in small, underground tournaments. Later, Holly attends one of the fights, but is horrified by the violence and Shane's meager earnings of only $300 for such immense risk. So, she suggests that he fight in big tournaments and earn more money.
I didn't think of that.
However, Shane mentions that nobody important wants to fight him because he is unpopular and doesn't sell enough tickets. Holly feels bad for him and promises to help him get bigger matches. She then asks for a list of the most popular fighters and begins researching them. Later, we see Holly at her apartment, delving deeper into the fighting scene. After searching for a while, she discovers that a top fighter, Suarez, has been accused of using steroids. Holly decides to use this scandal to her benefit. Later, she sneaks into Suarez's house, takes a photo of his pill bottle, and uses it to blackmail him. Afterward, she drops by Shane's apartment and shares her success in arranging the fight. Right then, his manager also calls with the news that Suarez has accepted to fight Shane in 6 weeks. This sets the stage for a thrilling and potentially life-changing match for both Shane and Holly. Later, during his training sessions, Holly visits him and they strike up a conversation. They bond over stories about their respective families, and after hearing about Holly's sister's condition of restlessness, Shane suggests that she might be pregnant. However, Holly believes that something else is up. She then reveals that she is scared of crowds due to a past injury sustained at a concert. Shane is slightly disappointed that Holly cannot attend his fight, but he has another idea. He suggests that she come to his apartment to watch it on TV, which she gladly accepts. In the next scene, the match day finally arrives, and despite being away from fighting for more than 5 years, Shane emerges victorious. However, he gets a disappointing payout from the match due to his manager taking a larger cut of his earnings. On his way out of the building, a reporter inquires about Shane's plans to celebrate, and he replies that he is already doing so in his own way. Moments later, Shane returns home to Holly and shows her his injuries. She naturally becomes worried, but he downplays them. Shane then invites Holly to the rooftop of his apartment building, where they discuss the fight. He expresses his concerns that Holly may not be real, as fighters like him often hallucinate due to injuries. Don't be silly, where do you think the pictures came from?
Oh yeah.
However, he also clarifies that he wants her to be real, and proves it by kissing her. Right then, the reporter from earlier appears behind them and snaps a photo of the kiss. Shane notices him and tries to capture him, but the reporter manages to get away. The next morning, Holly is surprised to see herself in a tabloid photo with Shane, labeled as the Shadow Girl. Apparently, the reporter edited the image by inserting a silhouette of a woman in there, as he couldn't see anything. In the next scene, we see Shane at a press conference with his next opponent, Bones. We learn that Shane has parted ways with his manager, and when he is asked about the Shadow Girl, assumed to be Juliana, he says,
No comment.
After the conference, Holly follows Bones to his car and sends him some texts to let him know that she has evidence of him spending the night with a minor. To keep her silence, Bones reluctantly agrees to lose the fight against Shane. It is obvious that Holly is not only arranging the fights for Shane, but also fixing them without his knowledge. On the day of the fight, Shane easily beats Bones, elevating his status as a prominent fighter even more. However, Holly is not done yet. She invents a rumor that Matei has accepted the rematch against Shane, and in no time, several news tabloids publish this story. Later, Holly sneaks into Matei's house to find some dirt on him, but unfortunately, she comes up empty-handed. After this, Holly visits her sister and discovers that she is pregnant, but for some reason, she doesn't want to tell her husband about it. The following day, Holly is sent to a bar to take pictures of Juliana, who's seen flirting with a guy. To her shock, the guy is revealed to be none other than Shane. Furious, Holly yells at him before storming out of the building. Shane goes after her to explain, but she refuses to listen to him. When nothing works, Shane defends himself by saying that he wants to be with someone real. In response, Holly also reveals that she has been fixing his fights. Hearing this, Shane becomes angry and shouts at her to go away. One evening at her apartment, while Holly is busy drinking, Shane surprises her with a visit. He feels the need to confess something to her. To Holly's surprise, Shane reveals that the pictures she took of him cheating on Juliana were not the sole reason for their breakup or his defeat in the fight. No shit. He admits to becoming complacent when his career took off, and that both he and Juliana were unfaithful to each other. When the relationship fell apart due to the photographs, Shane couldn't cope with this situation. Listening to this, Holly realizes that it was never her fault. She just got involved at an unfortunate time. She then tries to kiss him, but Shane backs off. This enrages Holly, and so she kicks him out of her apartment, breaking her late mother's kaleidoscope in the process. Not the kaleidoscope.
The hell is that thing?
says Shane. The next morning, Holly wakes up to a distressing discovery. She can no longer see herself in the mirror. She is desperate for answers and decides to seek out Shane at the gym. However, to her horror, he cannot see her either. After she leaves, Shane is visited by Juliana. She jokes that she doesn't date losers, and this makes Shane question her true intentions. He wonders if she would have contacted him if he hadn't become famous again. The answer is obviously no. Elsewhere, Holly decides to visit her family one last time to bid them farewell. She starts with Vanessa, who still hasn't told her husband about her pregnancy. Holly decides to kick the trash can, revealing the pregnancy test. Her brother-in-law notices it, and although he is thrilled about the news, Vanessa is scared. She has always been regarded as nothing more than a pretty face and feels unworthy of being a mother because her mother showed favoritism towards her sister. Next, Holly visits her brother Troy and watches his latest movie, which she finds quite impressive. When his crush passes by on the street, Holly trips her on purpose, allowing Troy to finally talk to her. After this, she goes to see her father Paul and discovers sleeping pills and 3 pictures of kaleidoscope art, which indicates that he still misses his late wife, Victoria. At this moment, Holly realizes that she has been so focused on her own loss that she had not been there for her family, who have also been hurting. Hence, she apologizes to her father and decides to change her ways. Following this, Holly takes a bus to see Shane's match against Matei, risking being in a crowd. When she gets there, she notices Shane on the losing side and sneaks into the ring to support him, promising to be there for him no matter what. To her surprise, Shane finally sees her again, but so does the entire audience. Regardless, Holly remains by Shane's side, holding his hand until security finally kicks her out. Unfortunately, he loses the match by a tiny difference in points, probably because he was distracted by Holly. After the intense match, Juliana approaches Shane with words of sympathy, but also understandingly grants him permission to see Holly. Without hesitation, Shane rushes to the hallway and convinces the security that Holly is with him, and once they are alone, he finally embraces her in a tight hug. Holly admits that Shane was right about her life, and in turn, he confesses that she was right about Juliana. Days later, Holly surprises her dad with an unexpected visit, and Paul's eyes light up with joy as he sees his daughter again. The movie ends when the father and daughter share a warm embrace, finally reconnecting after years of being apart. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.